Hello and welcome to A Sister's Back. Hope you all had a great week and a great weekend. So hopefully your week started off really, really nice, kicked off well. How are you, Carnation?
I'm doing okay. You wake up all perky and you say Sunday blues are not going to hit you, and then at some point they just go blah.
Is there such a thing?
Well,
I never get that.
Sunday blues,
No.
I do, and it's worse if I stay in bed longer than I should, because then you start thinking and thinking and thinking. So, but here we are. Yeah.
Yeah, I get more tired if I sleep too long. And I'm a morning person, so I'm usually up before everybody else. So,
I see. Yeah, I'm aware of that. A very nice top. I like the
oh,
off
thank
shoulder.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think it's befitting with what we're about to talk about.
Very much so.
So, when we talk about body images, so today's topic is about the body image, body issues, insecurities, I think. So when we talk about that, what do you what do you think when people say body image?
Body image. So I guess what comes to mind for me, and for me, it's been a journey, and I'm sure like most women, right? Um, when you're in your teenage years, your body starts, it surprises you in terms of how it changes, right? You're used to being a certain way, and all of a sudden you have these developments. Some women are very comfortable with welcoming those developments because they've been waiting for them. But for some women, it causes a bit of a crisis. And so for me, I guess my genesis of body image was I wasn't secure. I wasn't happy with what was happening. I remember when I first started getting the little perks for breasts, my posture changed and I used to walk like that, right? Because it meant that I was a woman and I wasn't sure I was ready to accept what it meant being a woman. So for me, I think that's kind of when my body image started. I started being insecure about my body image when I started getting breasts because I didn't know what to do with them, right? Yeah, I didn't know what to do with them. And over time, I don't know. Maybe I'll let you jump in, and then I'll be able to to share. Yeah, maybe I'll let you jump in. I don't know where I'm going
You
with
should be able to share whether I jump in or not. But I think for me, I never thought much about my body. I never thought anything. I think the thing that caught me by surprise was when I got my period. Like I knew the word and I knew what it was about, but I didn't know it really because I never got that talk with my mom. My mom was gone by the time I got my period. So it was like I thought it was gonna be like a 1 day thing where it's like, oh, there's some blood. Okay, we're done. So I'm going freaking 4 days. I'm thinking, what is going on? Am I like, is this normal? Is this like I didn't know what to expect, even though I knew it's a thing that women go through. So, but then even then, I don't think I had issues with getting a period. I thought it was one of those things where it's like it will happen and then it's gone. And I think when I got my first period, I was like 14, going on 15, and um I got the first period and then I went 2 months without getting anything,
Yeah, I
and
can.
then that's when it started like, and in my head, I'm like, yay, it only happens once and we're good to go. And then from nowhere, now it's every single month. And I hated it. But the good thing about mine was that I would get the cramps. So I would know beforehand that it's coming. So I would prepare for it. But I think my body image issues started when people commented about my body.
Mhm.
It was always, it didn't matter whether I was big, skinny, or whatever, because I've had my fair share of, if you see some of my photos, I was like the skinniest, and then you see some of my photos, I'm like the biggest, and I've always fluctuated with weight. And without fail, every single time, somebody always had to comment. Oh, you're too skinny now. You need to stop. You need to eat a little bit. No, it's not looking good. Oh, you're too big. Oh my God. Whatever. And just listening to that, I think that's what caused my insecurities. But it wasn't really anything coming from me.
It
I
was
was
from.
okay. Like, yeah, my dad raised us not to care about the body. Technically, he's a guy. A lot of women, when they're like 14 or whatever, start looking at their body in the mirror. They start looking at their beauty and all that good stuff. I never i never cared, per se. I was a tomboy through and through up until I got to my 20s. I still have tomboy traits, but now I had to go out of my way to intentionally be the lady, because women would have issues with, oh, why you like best friends with this guy that I like, or why you friends with this one, whereas to me, I'm like, we're just friends, what's up with that? So I don't know, I kind of feel like my body image issues came from other people, not from me. So now as I'm older, I don't listen to anybody. I look the way I look. I am the way I am. Accept it or don't accept it. It's not my business. You deal
Mhm.
with it. So I think that's where I'm at now. But
That's where you're
before that,
at.
I really struggled.
You struggled.
Hmm.
I wanted to tap into what you said about that, your issues started when people started commenting about your body. And for me, that's very relatable because, I became a teenager in a completely different society and culture.
Hmm.
And then I moved into another society, culture towards the end of my teens. So, when I started having all these changes in my body and, certain areas became curvier than other areas, obviously the attention came from males, right? Because males notice that. And, it's like, oh, okay, new kid on the block, so to speak.
Hmm.
And then also validated by women in that society that, oh, you know what? It's good you have, these type of curves, that's what a woman should look like. And the bigger the curves, the better, right?
Hmm.
But when you're a teenager, I guess you're still trying to navigate this new body and the attention that you're getting, both good and negative, right? Because you're still trying to sort yourself out.
And it's
Then
unwanted.
you
You're
move,
not used to it.
you're not used to it exactly, right? And then you move into a new culture and society where it's like, okay, no, curves are not a good idea. It's better if you're like a size 2 or size 4, right? Like you need an athletic type of body. And then you start thinking, okay, I was getting comfortable with this shape, right? But in this society, it's not, because that was really early. I think it was in the early 2000s. In this society, okay, I guess curves are not the thing. So I remember once I went to Le Chateau, it's been a while, to buy my very first skirt. And before I went to Le Chateau, I think I was a size 7 or 8. And then I go into Le Chateau and I pick up the size that I thought I fit into. And it just fell off of me, right? Because I had unintentionally absorbed those cultural norms and societal norms to become much smaller. And the skirt just fell off of me. And then I felt like I'd succeeded, right? Because now I was a size 2, size 4. It wasn't very attractive, but anyway, we'll get into that at some point.
Hmm.
And so, it took me a long time to realize that how I viewed my body for the longest time, it was based on what others said was acceptable. And I remember for the longest time, I'd forgotten about my body. And a male friend commented that, oh, you know what? Yeah, like you have a really nice body. And then I thought to myself, I hadn't thought about this for a really long time. So what is a nice body, and you, without realizing, you keep on fluctuating to suit what people are saying and not actually being comfortable with who you
Yeah.
are, yeah, and what
And
your
the
body
thing, and
is
the
like.
thing too is, which is the thing that's the most annoying, is
Mm-hmm.
that every single person that comments about your body, good or bad, every single person has a standard of beauty that they hold to be,
Uphold. Yeah.
that they think is beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
right? There's so many different body types. We've got the hourglass, we've got the rectangle, we've got the apple, we've got the pear, we've got all that kind of stuff, and there's nothing wrong with all those body types. But if a person who likes the hourglass looks at a pear-shaped body and comments on it, oh well, you need a bit more curves. Oh well, there's nothing you can do about that. You know what I mean? People put their desires and their likes onto other people, and that causes a lot of insecurities. A lot of, you know, I remember, I think I told you about this. So, people kept on saying, "Oh, you need to, you need to lose weight. You're too big, or this and that." So I was working really hard to lose weight. So backstory about me, like people don't know, I used to run cross country. I used to, work out a lot. I used to be like really, really fit, really in shape. And so this girl is like, "Oh, you need to lose weight. You're too big, or whatever." And I thought, okay, let me go out of my way, because she's like, "Oh, we can do this together. Let's do it together." She was a little bit smaller than me, but anyway, that's fine. So we're working hard, working hard. I'm losing weight. I'm starting to look, you know, I don't know, a certain way. I don't want to say I'm starting to look good, because big, big girls look good. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with a person just because they've got extra pounds. So I was starting to look a certain way, and her husband commented commented about my body. Then she came to me and she's like, "Ropa, I think you're becoming too skinny, and you need to start eating. You need to stop losing weight. You need to gain a little bit more weight." And I wasn't even at the body weight that I wanted to be. So she kept on coming to monitor, stop, you need to stop, because her husband happened to comment. I can't control what other people say, good or bad, right? But then you get people becoming insecure because somebody they love has seen you or whatever, and then they come to attack you. That's
So,
another.
what did you do when like how what did you do when she said, okay, I think you've lost enough weight now? What was your response? Not response to her, but what was your response to what she said in terms of your weight loss journey? What did you do?
My response was to say, "I'm not done yet. I'm still a little ways away from where I want to be."
Mm-hmm.
But then she started monitoring my progress, because she was in my circles at the time, and I didn't realize what was happening until, So I don't like it when people monitor my progress. Stop looking at me and all this, because it tires me. If I'm working on my stuff, I want to work on it by myself, not to have somebody hinder me, type of thing, or whatever. So I think I stopped talking to her. She was only talking to me when she was trying to get me to stop losing weight, but she wasn't really like a friend. And remember, we were talking about it in previous episodes. I considered her to be a friend, so her
Wasn't a
opinion
friend to
was
her.
important, right? Because I'm like, okay, this is my friend, these are my circles. So when she said that, I was like, okay, I'm
You're
not
breaking up.
gonna. Am I breaking up? So I didn't stop losing weight, but at the same time, I stopped telling her what I was doing. I just kept quiet. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, sure, I hear you." And then I just kept quiet.
Yeah.
And over the course of our friendship, she kind of threw shade at me here and there. But I realized that when I was smaller, people hated on me because I was smaller. And then when I was bigger, people hated on me because I was bigger.
So
So I'm
you could
like,
win.
what do you want?
What do you
What do you
yeah,
want?
what
Oh,
do you
you're too big. And then you get like people wanting you to take pictures when you're like in a setting. People want you to take pictures so that you're not in the picture. No, let Ropa take the picture. No, 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 let her take the picture. And in my head, I'm like, okay, you guys are not my friends, whatever. I felt some type of way. But now that I look back at it, I put so much importance on these toxic people. You know what I mean? And
uh,
I didn't go out of my way to accept myself for who I am
mm-hmm.
and love me, pamper me, go out of my way to go to a spa. I went to a spa in Kenmore, got them to like really cater to me and everything, and all that good stuff. And I was thinking about it when I was lying there, and the lady was like giving me a massage, and there was like this ambiance and this whatever. And I'm like, why did I take this long to do this? You know what I mean? To
Yeah,
love me, to accept me,
for who you
because I'm the only one who can fully accept me, right?
and if you don't, yeah, and if you don't accept yourself, I think that's what I wanted to get at, that, if you yeah. But I was saying, talking about, what I was talking about was, just going back to that theme of how our self-concept or accepting how our body looks like is
Yeah.
impacted within relationships, right?
Mhm.
So with men, because I remember, dating one guy, and he, I was quite slender when we started dating, and it was okay, oh yeah, she's a cool girl. And then I noticed that, what, he liked girls who were more full figured. And guess what I started doing? I put myself on an eating regimen, right? So that I could gain that weight and be curvy like he wanted.
Mhm.
And I achieved that. And, he was happy. And I remember him saying distinctly to me that, yeah, this is ideal. If you lose any weight, yeah, this is not going to work, right? And I was naive then. And I thought, you know what? I really like this guy, so I'm going to keep him happy. And I think as the relationship progressed, and then I saw what kind of, how do I say this? When I started, he was stepping down the pedestal I'd put him, I was eating one day and I say to myself, I keep on eating until I'm stuffed. Why am I doing this to myself? I don't even like eating this much, right?
Mhm.
And I say to him, yeah, you know what? In my head, I looked at him and I said, yeah, I think this is the end of this relationship. And I slowly started withdrawing. And then I also dated another guy. And I think this is part of just growing, as a young person, or maybe just evolving in terms of your self concept. And this guy would say to me, oh, you know what? Girls with flat abs are it. So I don't necessarily have a big tummy, but I don't have flat abs either. And then, I started adding abs into my regimen. And then he was commenting on I guess, how I looked at, oh, I thought you're working out, but, I don't see the abs yet. And then I kept at it. And then one day he commented, and then I looked at him, thought to myself, oh, you're bald. You don't even have abs yourself. Why are you making me feel bad about one thing I don't have, and you have a lot of areas to work on? So I think if you're not confident in who you are, what you look like, and most importantly, you haven't accepted what you look like, it's easy for anyone to come around and say, okay, maybe tweak this. You'll look better if you do this, So
Mhm.
I'm glad you touched on that, when you went to that spa and you really pampered yourself and you're thinking, why didn't I do this all along? I need to love myself and accept me.
Yeah.
That's the genesis, yeah, of accepting your body image, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just to throw it out there, there's nothing wrong with a bold man.
My point, no, I was trying to make a point that
I
sometimes
know,
people
I know, but just in case people misunderstand, there's nothing
oh,
wrong with a bold man. Matter of
yes.
fact, this guy I was into for years is bold. Oh
but
my gosh.
oh
You know
yeah,
the guy, right? I could not
I
I could not get over there was something about him. I was just like, oh. Anyway,
I remember that guy. The point I was just trying to drive home is some people who make you feel insecure about one thing that you have are people who have issues themselves, right? And they're trying to project their issues onto you so that
yeah.
you're not as secure as you were before. Because I never thought about my abs or that my tummy was, not flat until I met that guy,
But the
right?
thing is, actually, you know what? I think you're over exaggerating. Your tummy is not even, you don't have a fupa or whatever it is. You know what I mean? Your abs are flat. I think your standard of flat is different. And I think that kind of goes to show as well, the that kind of goes to show as well that the standards that we have, I think your stomach is flat. And when you're wearing clothes, your stomach is flat. But for some funny reason, you think, oh my God, I've got a pouch. And I keep looking at it. I'm like, which pouch? What are we talking about here? Right.
But
And
that's society. Sometimes we internalize these societal expectations that even, I think maybe sometimes society doesn't even say, okay, this is the standard. You look at something and you say, okay, this is what I need to look like. And you obsess over it. And I think if you keep on talking about it, you're going to attract people who are going to make you feel worse about that one thing. That's not even a big deal in you.
oh
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I look at some of the photos back in the day when I thought, oh my God, I'm the worst. I would look at myself in the mirror. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, how do I get out? And and then I stopped looking at the mirror because I'm like, if I look at the mirror, I'm going to see what I don't like. And then I'm going to be depressed the whole day. It's going to mess up my day. So I stopped looking at the mirror. But if I look at some of the photos that I took back in the day, I look at it, I'm like, why wasn't I happy here? I don't
Yeah, right.
understand.
You were banging, right? Yeah, you're like,
Right. I'm like, I was looking really good, but
yeah.
I didn't enjoy the moment, and I wasn't happy in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I think listening to people who say things, and it's not even just people, sometimes it could be a cultural thing, like I know this girl, she's Asian, and the Asian culture is very tiny. I mean,
Yeah.
the Asian body type is very tiny, very very skinny.
Yeah.
Their biggest size, if you're overweight, you're like a size 8, a size 7. Mostly they're like zeros and twos. That's what's considered like small type of thing. So anyone who's over 8, a size 8, they're like struggling with it. And to me, I'm like, a size 8, that's like pretty good. There's nothing wrong with a size 8. Right. So I think it's all cultural. It's also family as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then it's also, family, friends. It's also sometimes work, because a big girl might not be able to go and work at Hooters.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
they have a specific body type at that job, in order for you to get as many tips or whatever it is. Right. So yeah, it could cause a lot of, insecurity, depression. It could cause a lot of people cutting themselves because they're not happy with their image. A lot of people, there's nothing wrong with surgery, but sometimes people have surgery because they want to fix something and then find out later on that, oh, I shouldn't have fixed it and I'm not happy.
They want to fix something that society is telling them. And sometimes, what, I think this is something that we're going to talk about at some point, that, self negative talk. Sometimes it's not even society. Sometimes it's even just, the standard that you have set for yourself. For instance, and that's why it's important to hang out with people who validate you. If there was, if there was a model for a certain type of cup size, I wouldn't fit in. I know where I fit in, right? Mm-hmm. And, coming from a teenager who was trying to hide her her boobs, and then the universe got me what I wanted where they are not as conspicuous. And then coming into adulthood where I was thinking, you know what, I wish I had a bigger cup size, right? It was actually you who say to me, you know what, based on your cup size, there are certain things that you can wear that you'll be able to pull off and look really nice in, right?
Yeah.
And so
I've always wanted a backless top, but I can't.
but you can't because you're well endowed. Sorry to
Yeah.
share this, but you're well endowed, right?
Well, everybody can see it.
Yeah, show them, right? And so I guess what I'm trying to say is we focus so much on what we don't have,
Yeah.
instead of focusing on what we have or working with what we have. I remember this, I think he's long dead now, but he had a particularly big nose. I don't know if it was a condition or because he was an alcoholic at some point. But he said to himself, you know what, I'm not going to change this nose. So how do I make it work for me? And so based on how he looked, actually, he got a lot of work as an actor because of what they were looking for in terms of a character, right? So I think we focus so much on what we don't have. And I don't know. And sometimes I think when I'm looking at it that, you know what, sometimes the most attractive people, it's not about their features, it's about how they carry themselves, the confidence, because they've said, you know what, this is me. I can't change what the masterpiece that, you know, the creator made. I'm going to accept myself. Yeah. And I'll carry myself with confidence because this is how I've been predestined to present myself into the world, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's funny. I'll say this. There's this, when I was younger, there's this girl, we used to be roommates. A bunch of us were roommates at the time. And she would walk from the bathroom, and we had two boys that we were roommates with as well. It was a big house that had like 4 bedrooms. So she comes in and she would wear her towel on her waist, and she would leave this whole part open. So her culture didn't care much about
boobs,
the top part, but they would cover the bottom. So she would walk, and in the living area, so you go to the bathroom, you pass the living area, you get to the bedrooms, right? So the boys, everybody would be sitting there, we were watching TV, and she would walk there and she would stand in front of everybody and she would carry out a conversation with her bare chest, right? And
you have knockers?
Well, she had I think she was a B cup, I would say. She wasn't too big, but she wasn't like too small either. So I would go to one day I went to the bathroom to go take a shower. I had my towel covered around me type of thing, but I just had a towel. And then she said, you need to stop walking around with your towel. Like if you're gonna dress, if you're gonna go to the bathroom, you have to dress up in there before you come out because it doesn't look good. And I'm like, huh? This coming from you who walks around with your bare chest? Well, yeah. It's my culture. My culture states that we don't care much about the top. And I'm like, I'm covered. I'm freaking covered all the way to my, like, where the towel was ending, like almost to my knees. And you're saying it doesn't look good? And I was like, fuck off, man. And she's like, hey. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'm out. So I walked out because I was so pissed off. I'm like, how dare you try and make me feel insecure? But I'm like covered. And she's like walking around with,
and
like,
you walk with the bare chest.
Yeah, but I think it's all insecurities too. She liked the attention of the guys. And I think she thought I was competing for that attention. But I just went to the bathroom to go take a shower and go back. So she thought, oh, I need to tell her to stop, right? Insecurities. You're doing worse than me. You're exposing everything, leaving nothing to the imagination. So I think there's something to be said. If people are commenting about your things that you can't change and things, I don't think you should even pay any mind to that.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have curves. Well, I wasn't born with curves, honey.
Yeah.
You need to relax.
Yeah, you need to, right? You
Yeah.
need to, and I think you have to. Yeah, for me, obviously, where I am now, much older,
Hmm.
I've come to accept myself, and I think it's something that I'm going to post on our, how do I say this page there? Not,
Hmm.
maybe this week. I've realized, what, this is the best that I will look. And every year brings new challenges, new changes. And like you were saying, for me, the lesson was from pictures that I hated. And I look
Yeah,
at now and I go, you know what? I looked really good in this picture. So then you
exactly.
spend your life just nitpicking how you look, but time is progressing and you won't always look the way you do right now.
And
So enjoy it
yes,
and cherish it. Yeah.
and if we focus a lot on what people say and what you don't have and what you want to look like and all this kind of stuff, time is moving. You're not enjoying these days. When you look back at it, when you are a little bit older, you need happy memories. You need memories to look back at and think and smile.
Mm-hmm.
Not to go like I spent my 20s and I spent my whatever cutting myself because I was not happy with my body, when there was nothing wrong with your
Wrong
body
with
to
the
begin
body.
with,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think, you know, we just need to learn to love ourselves and to learn to accept ourselves regardless, of what we look like. It doesn't matter if you've got breakouts, pimples, or whatever. Just love yourself for the way that you are and figure out, if you want, figure out how to manage that. But if you can't, and this is who you are, accept it and love it. And there are people who will love you the way that you are, regardless.
Thank you so much, Ropa. I don't think I can add any more to that. That's a really nice way to end.
So you guys have a great. This is part one. We're coming back with part two because I feel like there's more to say.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Thank you for joining us, ladies.